شرع لكم من الدين ما وصى به نوح والذي أوحينا إليك وما وصينا به إبراهيم وموسى وعيسى أن أقيموا الدين ولا تتفرقوا فيه كبر على المشركين ما تدعوهم إليه الله يجتبي إليه من يشاء ويهدي إليه من ينيب. Dear sisters and brothers, viewers and listeners, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
Here we are once more gathered to reflect on this Qur'an that is nicknamed by Allah as Qur'an al-Azim, this mighty Qur'an, this gigantic Qur'an, this great and grand Qur'an. And the last time we met last week, apart from talking some time about Prophet Jesus, I continue to mention what the Qur'an teaches about this great and final messenger Mohammed. And I mentioned that this prophet brought a new world order. He brought something that was forgotten in human society. Because it's a norm for every society to forget the essence, the substance, the sense, the purpose, the implication, and the application of divine messages. The Qur'an tells us about that. That's a fact of human society. So this prophet brought a new world order. It was not a new world order in the sense that mankind had never heard of it, but in the sense it was new, relevant to the society of the Arabs, of the Persians, and their neighbors. Because why? As I've said, as happened with all the messengers, people, after the passing away of prophets, not to deny there have been tidal waves against the messengers of Allah when they were alive. And there were earthquakes after they left. But primarily, their communities substituted the order or the social order, or the world order that they brought for religion. So the Arabs had religion, the Persians had religion, the Romans had religion, the Greeks had religion, the Egyptians had religion, everybody had religion. Like today, religion is all over. But divine loftiness was missing, as it is missing today. And the Prophet came with that divine social order, which was similar in nature, in essence, in significance, to that which other mighty messengers like him brought. And that's what the Qur'an tells us about this divine social order. It was called ad-din. It was called ad-din al-qayyim. That way of life, if you and I adopt it, we will rise. The word qayyim comes from the verb qama. and if you take the lenses of people who have transformed, substituted divine loftiness for religion, then you will have an anthropomorphic approach to the texts and the terminologies. And qama means to stand. But qayyim not only means that which is established, but qayyim means that which will establish you and me, which will cause us to evolve, to ascend, to rise to loftiness, to be sublime. And this was the world order that each messenger brought. And Prophet Muhammad was no exception. And this verse of the Qur'an tells us. So let us try to look at this verse. Because there are numerous verses in the Qur'an about the deen. What does deen mean? What it teaches, and what are expected of people who get involved in the deen. So this verse is taken from chapter 42, Surah Shura. And the word shura means mutual consultation, mutual dialogue, mutual discussion, mutual participation, mutual enhancement, mutual empowerment. It's a word that is essentially centered on society. Nobody can be in the society if he absolves himself from the society, if he is not an active player in society, if she is not an active player in society, then you really don't belong to the human society. You may look like a human being. Anybody who belongs to a Jamaat, but your presence in the Jamaat is one like just a number. You go, you attend, you leave. You participate in whatever they have going, rituals or whatever, but you don't make any active, positive, dynamic contribution to that Jamaat. Now tell me, you cannot and I cannot function like that in an industry. We cannot function like that in an office. We cannot function like that in a home. We cannot function like that in a family. That is disaster. So the Qur'an tells us in chapter 42, verse 13, with the chapter title Shura, which means that you and I must participate in a dynamic way in society. If you are in any society, you must become part of that society. You must either enhance that society or purify that society. You cannot be a living dead in this society. Something that many people found it very convenient. They will live in Canada, but they are not activists. They don't make any contribution. They usurp so much resources, but they don't produce anything. This is defeating the very concept of Shura. Shura is not for a few people who superimpose themselves in society. Shura is the right of society, every member of society, and the responsibility of every member of society. This kind of wishy-washy practice of Shura in some Muslim communities where only a certain selective few sit down and discuss is against the dynamics of society.